I had some experience with virtual instruction in the spring, so I was surprised to see that learning to give virtual instruction on campus presented its own set of problems.
Good news. I got a microphone and a camera.
With the help of our fabulous tech team and the advice of some amazing virtual teachers who came before me, I was able to start using some basic functions of some of the most basic programs to lead my classes. They laughed, and my sister Diane said, "No, not a whole chicken, just enough chicken for you." So then I visualized this. Once I had a few strategies under my belt, I knew it was time to get organized. I created and learned how to incorporate into my Google Classroom a Bitmoji classroom. I was surprised at the feeling of togetherness it brought to my virtual students and myself. It made me think, why am I limiting where I take these students to the walls of a classroom when this is the one year we're not limited by that? I reasoned that because I already know how to take my students to a Bitmoji classroom in Google Slides, I can take my students on an adventure anywhere. The next week, instead of embedding my assignments and lessons into a Bitmoji classroom, my students and I met at Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. We toured different rooms for each of the language domains and explored activities that supported them in gaining academic language. Not only did this increase student engagement, but it gave us a common thread to discuss all week across whatever content areas we were discussing as I prepare students for the academic language of multiple content areas throughout the week. We had a common ESOL thread, which made me think maybe, just maybe, I'm approaching an idea for effective virtual practice. Every week I pull out my teacher traveling hat and announce where our destination will be for the week. The students are loving the adventure. Let's face it, I'm alone in an empty classroom, and my students are sitting at their dining room tables. But this gives us a sense of adventure. It gives us a sense of team, and it gives us a language thread that we can use throughout the entire week, regardless of content area instruction. I'm not suggesting that all teachers need a traveling hat. But what I am excited about sharing is that the comfort level I was able to achieve with these basic programs in the frustration and functioning stages of my development as a virtual teacher have given me confidence in being creative. As a teacher who regularly in face to face instruction used songs and chants as the wow factor, I really struggled with not being able to do that effectively in a virtual format. So, finding a different wow factor with a different benefit is helping me to shape my virtual philosophy of education. And I absolutely do see that although it's related to my face to face philosophy of education, they are very different. And they're also both kind of awesome. Learning to teach during the pandemic has been difficult for all of us. And there are definitely challenges in front of us. But the negative things you're hearing about distance learning aren't necessarily true. If you've heard that students can't learn unless they're in a building, I can tell you my students are learning. My classroom isn't perfect, but my students are engaged. I'm building relationships with my students and their families. I've found my virtual teacher voice, and I've found joy.